Good morning to part 2. It's part 2 of 104 parts of Breakfast Stream 2024. How y'all doing today? Y'all are doing hype. You love the pilot episode. It's the first episode of the season was last time. Now we're starting to get into it. Yeah, Mao is not here. Mao is in Wisconsin. I am under the impression that we might have a guest, but the guest is late. But it could be soon. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna read some of these. We got a subscription from Crystal Italian. Welcome. New sub. We got 27 months from Swift 4 Sweeper. 26 from Sailor X Faye. 61 from the Great Ass Fairy. 41 from Stoop Kid. And 48 months from Jacket K. Congrats on the 4. Nick, I'm going to be there in about 11 hours if you need a guess. Jess says, get ready for 50 minutes of this, everyone. I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Yeah, it's not the Babadook. Although the Babadook would make a great guest. Probably. Someone is here. Someone is here. Well, that's good. That's good. We got 30 months from Yami Florence and 5 months from Brandon the Sun Dragon. You know what I'm really hopeful for? I love our guest very dearly. Very, very dearly. They're a great person. Warms my heart to think about them. I hope they brought me a food. But, you know, who can say for sure? We have 49 months from Snowy Satoru. Okay. Whoever is in my home is getting a plate. I can hear the sound of plates. This is great. This is super great. I love this. You probably said Steven already ate all his waffles. Did I talk about the waffles, by the way? I don't know if I ever talked about the waffles on New Year's. Just like alluded to them, but didn't talk about them. Because I got a waffle maker. And it makes good waffles. He says whoever's in your home is taking their sweet time. It's fine. It's totally fine. Haley, Jesus. I offered waffles, and everyone in Raleigh Collective came over and got them. You just weren't there. Hi.
Oh, you start at 9. I thought 9 was the call time. You're very confusing with this. It's like Zelda streams start at 7:25 and you go live at 7:33. Breakfast stream starts at 8:50 and you're on camera at
9.
9. Anyway, would you like a fritter?
Yes. Yesterday when you're like, what time is the show? I said 9.
Right.
That's not the call time.
Well, you didn't specify. Anyway, sorry.
There are 500 episodes of Breakfast
This is
Stream.
going to tank my professional career. I know I'm going to get blacklisted. All George Corp streams.
It's fine.
Sorry, I brought food onto your couch. Do you want a fritter?
I'm sorry, don't tell Mal, but yes, give me one.
Okay.
She won't be able to find out.
I went to the place with the fritters.
You went to, oh my god, you did go to Fritter Place.
The good donut place that everyone
Oh, crap.
in Raleigh loves. I know, I got the bigger plate.
Jesus.
Here, I know you don't like wet paper towels, but they're a little sticky. So there's also dry napkins if you prefer.
This is great. I might get a fork at some point and eat this with a fork.
Okay.
You
that's
can eat
fair.
it with your hands.
Well, you either get a fork or you get moist paper towel.
Yeah.
But I don't have to like touch buttons, so.
I don't have to touch buttons either. Yeah, these I didn't. When you said apple fritter, like my mind goes to these, but I didn't know that you got the good one. Mm-hmm. I just figured like
these are
local
good.
grocery store had fritters, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
These are very good.
Have you ever had before you finish the whole thing? Mm-hmm. Have you ever had them heated? They are better microwave.
These specifically?
Yes.
Or just,
They
have
are
the crisp,
very good.
What I like about them is the crispness of the outer glazed shell, golden brown fried.
That's fair.
I feel like that would get soft.
It does get softer, but they're very, very good warm because the apples become warm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I will indulge a little bit here.
Boy.
That's very good. It's extremely good. So that's why you were late. You went out of your way to obtain this.
It's yeah, it's actually making the stream very unentertaining because we're just eating and we can't speak.
We call that, in show business, the cereal dilemma.
It's not dead air if there's chewing noise.
It's true. Cereal dilemma refers to the time where I was just eating cereal on every stream, and Chaz was like, Steven, you cannot speak when you're eating cereal. And I was like,
I've noticed that. Mm-hmm. I was live recently on an unrelated stream, and I was eating Captain Crunch, Christmas Crunch. And yeah. You gave me a headset mic. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate it. It's really nice.
yeah.
But when you're eating cereal, you have to mute it. And you have to do this to get it out of the way, or else you'll get milk on the microphone. And I have the added problem of having like a lot of milk absorption surface on my face.
Why'd you do that?
So I don't lose any milk. It's precious.
Hate it when I lose. Is that mine or is that mine?
That's yours.
This is mine.
It's just water.
As opposed to...
Well, we've had this discussion before, right? And you're very suspicious of moist paper towels. I just wanted to let you know, it's just water from your sink downstairs. That's all it is. It's the only moistening agent that's been used on it.
I appreciate that. I don't want... I personally don't want additional moistening agents. Mm-hmm. I read some alerts. There's a few more that I'll read. And then we'll get into like the hard-hitting questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is Dateline NBC. We got 26 months from Sweet Serene, 56 from Des Sun Lee, 300 bits from Thunderstriker. Says we were talking about this in Discord, but this is actually stream 2 of 105. Oh, as there are 53 Tuesdays this year. Also, Vagabond pointed out February 29th is a Thursday, making it the rarest stream day. Neat. Yeah, I was just going off of normal math. I didn't look at anything. So, okay, there's 105 breakfast streams this year. So, wait, we've had a... No, we've probably never had a leap year day breakfast stream. I guess that's never happened. Neat.
So it's a leap year, there's an extra day in February, and that happens to be a Tuesday.
A Thursday.
A Thursday.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, Vagabond says 2020 was the only leap year, and the 29th was a Saturday. That's very cool. Fossick says there are 105 streams if January 1st falls on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Hey, shout out to Pope Gregory. If you enjoy that extra, you should have that.
Someone gift Pope
stream.
Gregory a sub on Twitch. So
that extra stream is sponsored by Pope Gregory, who came up with the Gregorian calendar. Or actually, it was his astronomers that he paid to do it.
We love Pope Gregory in this house.
We call him Greg, Papa Greg.
That's way too informal. You gotta show a little respect.
It's been like 500 years. He's cool. They were cooler back then. They were way more chill.
I'm not gonna dive into that. We got 52 months from Bucky Boy, 56 from Juliet 27, 35 from Char Hutch. The Slick Duke did gift a sub to Pope Gregory. And the Reload gifted sub to Pope Greg. I do sincerely hope that this is a potato situation where we get some people that become lifelong viewers,
including one who is the literal ghost of Pope Gregory III.
Woo! This is them typing. They have to type. Also, Tiger gifted a sub to Pope Gregory III.
Pope George.
Why does that username exist? Genesis gifted a sub to Pope George. That shouldn't exist. My last name is not common.
Have you considered declaring yourself a pope?
I did in 2014, and then it looked like it was going to be a lot of trouble. I decided not to. But yeah, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that. So it was a good time to reconsider it. Anyway, glad y'all are here.
Give me the bird.
500 bits from Shia says, welcome to Breakfast Stream, brought to you by the Vatican. Happy New Year, everyone. 2024 Breakfast Stream is going to hit a little different. So, Alex,
yeah.
the very last time that you were on Breakfast Stream, you talked about your job.
My job history, yeah.
And your job history.
I talked about... What was his name? I've already forgotten my boss's name.
That's where I'm going. Do you remember how you ended that stream?
I mean, yeah, I told Charlie I quit. As if Charlie were watching, which he was not. But then, like, 2 weeks later, I actually told Charlie that I quit.
I think that Breakfast Stream was actually like your trial run for that. Did you also, before telling him that you quit, give him an hour-long history of your work?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
so just
before I told him it was a one-on-one, like a bi-weekly one-on-one meeting where he was going over stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, we're getting together, like, how we're gonna do like performance goals and metrics for the next year, and so, I gotta spend some time today like compiling my list of goals for you for 2024 in your career." And he went into this whole spiel about it, and I was just like, Yeah, before you do that, Brandon, that's way too often to do one-on-ones. I mean, maybe not, but for this particular dynamic, it was, because it was just like, so how you doing?
I'm sure that was a interesting meeting. I'm sure there was a long pause of silence.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Every time I've quit a job, I've been surprised that the person receiving the news is, like, genuinely shocked. Maybe that means I'm not very good at externalizing my hatred of a job.
Well, that's a skill that you learn. So in your next career, you can just angrily be like, "I'm here for this meeting," and just keep doing that every week, but get progressively louder. So, then they'll be prepared.
Yeah.
Coffee!
Anyway, we have 300 bits from Ampersand Queen, who says, "Good morning. Hope everyone is well. Had a very chaotic morning of waking up 20 minutes late to a hungry kitty, then falling down the stairs and hurting my ankle in my rush to get to work on time. Hoping everyone else has a better day than mine."
Oh, no.
Sorry to hear that. I hope that it was not a bad hurt. You can fall down the stairs in a variety of ways. Like, you can fall down the stairs in like a ha-ha, oops way, and you can also like break every bone in your body. So I hope it's closer to the former.
That does sound very chaotic. Chaos can be fun and enriching in its own way, but chaos that involves bodily injury is usually bad.
Generally...
Sorry to hear about that.
Generally not good. So, good vibes to you, and I hope that the rest of your day improves. We also got 41 months from Gamers, as well as 500 bits from Gamers, 00700. 300 bits from Tricky Anthea. It says, "So because nobody wants to hire me to let me out of retail hell, I'm finally returning to school after 6 years of only working. I'm taking it slow and starting with one class, but man, I'm still nervous nonetheless." I think starting slow is a good way of doing it, though. You kind of have to, like, get back into the learning mindset a little bit, right? Because your brain, for the longest time, is in, like, well, this is what we do, we learn.
Also, working a retail job is a lot, and going to school is a lot. So like, easing into that and keeping both going is super great.
Yeah, I wish you luck on that. I've thought about the idea of doing schooling at like this point in my life. Not the idea of like, oh, I want to go do schooling, but I've like entertained the idea of like what that would feel like.
You could get the Sally Struthers TV VCR repair certification.
That doesn't seem that
from the commercials
helpful. Or get your degree. There are some commercials that are forever lodged in my head. Thank you, Haley. But Steven, you know everything. Why would you have to go to school? It's true. It's true. That would be a pointless endeavor for me, the person who knows so much about so little. So when we last did the show with you, you quit your job for real. I'm sure at the time people didn't know that. Since then, you have started a fun new venture, a fun new hobby. I do think that there are several people that don't know that it's your hobby. Like, I think there's quite a few people that believe that, like, you are now a full-time streamer.
I mean, effectively, I am.
Effectively, you are, but that's not like a career endeavor. It's not a new life mission.
It is a new life mission, actually.
Do you want to talk about
Yeah.
what that is and what that has entailed for you?
Yeah, I mean, so it
He's my sugar baby.
It's a project, a personal project of mine called Golden VCR, which you can find on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok under that name, and also at goldenvcr.com. And it's a celebration of the medium of VHS.
And this originally started years ago on YouTube, right?
Yeah. So what the real genesis of it is that I feel like I've told this story on stream before, but after my mom died, we were, of course, going through her house and all the stuff that was in it, and she had all the like home movies on VHS tape that my parents had recorded over the years of us as kids, and family functions and things, and then we had just stacks and stacks of like VHS tapes because we used to record TV shows on the VCR.
Yeah.
So I became like the custodian of these priceless family memories that were encoded on VHS, and this other just huge pile of random tapes.
Yeah.
So I, in the years that followed, I sort of made it my mission to slowly. Someone already did. Shout out Golden VCR. I made it my mission to archive like the home movies, right? So I bought a VCR, I got a capture device.
Yeah.
I figured out like a decent pipeline for recording stuff, and I started going through tapes and cutting them up into little clips. And I have like a little website that I share with my family where we have all the clips from all the tapes, so you can just sort of browse through and see like, oh, Bert's 3rd birthday party, instead of here's a tape with 4 hours of footage on it that I'm never going to watch because I don't have a VCR.
Sure.
So in that process, I don't know, it's like emotionally heavy to go through all that stuff sometimes, and it's just a lot of like labor-intensive, time-consuming work. So I also started looking at the other just random TV recording tapes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to just peer back into like there's still a personal connection with the stuff from my house. It's like, oh, my parents decided to record this PBS Nova documentary that aired in 1989 about human life and birth because I guess they were interested in it or they wanted to be able to share it with their kids or something.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see like what my mom or my dad or my siblings or I decided was worth recording onto tape. And then to get a glimpse back into whatever random time that was, whether it's 1988 or 1995 or whatever, and to just see like news broadcasts and commercials from that time.
Have you finished going through those initial tapes, like the ones that you got from
No.
your mom's house? No. Okay.
No, I did a bunch, but I was using a. Shout out to Elgato. They make some great products, but the 30 FPS only Game Capture HD from 10 years ago.
Yeah, the one that was discontinued like 5 years ago.
Is not great. I figured out my process a little better. I bought a GV USB 2 that can do 60i capture, and figured out how to like de-interlace and filter that better.
This is
so
fun.
Then I started going through those home movies again at better quality.
It's fun to hear you talk about that because
Yeah.
that's all stuff that I had to like know and learn like early college, and then I got out of school and I was like, I will not need that again. Like I've just like, will I need to de-interlace footage? Nope, probably not.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
As it turns out.
So yeah, I only did a few random streams here and there, like spaced several months apart on twitch.tv/wasabi milkshake.
Yeah.
With those like TV tapes.
Yeah.
So I just thought, it would be fun to like share this because I'm just discovering random TV footage from years ago, and like I can just stream this.
Yeah.
And a few people showed up and we had a good time, and then I started going to thrift stores and seeing, oh wait. That sort of unlocked the potential of the medium for me. Like, oh, there's all this weird stuff on VHS.
Yeah.
There's all this obscure random things that you can find in thrift stores and that people have recorded and just have sitting in their garage. And it's a real time capsule.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays, if I want to watch something to entertain me or inform me, I go to YouTube and there's just an endless stream of stuff that people have made that's algorithmically chosen and served to me.
Yeah.
But when you restrict yourself to videotape, you get things from like, you don't get anything after 2000. So it's all like 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and you never know what you're going to get.
I think that's the fun part for me, is the idea of you have this format which can literally be anything.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen with other things, because like it's not like you find DVDs that have shows and commercials and whatever recorded onto them. That medium was not used for that. Like, this was very specifically a VHS thing. So going into a thrift store and finding an unlabeled VHS is kind of a fun thing, because it's like, who knows what this could be?
Yeah. Yeah. So to cut to the chase and give you the key details, I have started a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/goldenvcr, where I stream the tapes that I have collected from thrift stores and that people have sent in.
Yeah.
It's not. I've tried to work hard to differentiate myself, because if you look on Twitch for, like, you know, VHS or whatever, there's channels that are just like bootlegging random movies from other countries. Like, that's not what my goal is. It's not like a 24-hour let's watch Disney movies that I've flipped horizontally channel. It's
now Bambi looks to the left.
I'm collecting, you know, I'm not collecting like Hollywood movies or, you know, the tapes of the Rugrats episodes that you bought at
You're particularly
Sam Goody.
interested in very obscure,
weird
strange
things, instructional things, educational things.
Yeah.
There's one that's just like, it says The Buffaloes, a Maddox something film, like two people's last name, and it's like copyright 2030 minutes, like a hand printed label.
Yeah.
And I Google that, and there's nothing. It's
Yeah.
just like somebody's indie film that they made, maybe.
Yeah.
No idea what's on it.
Like
Sometimes I do have to like screen them ahead of time to make sure that, because you have no idea what's on it.
Yeah. Watching unknown media live is certainly an adventure, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's not one that I would pursue.
Cosmic Straw. Yeah. So anyway, that's a fun thing that we do. And going back to the quitting my job thing, it's like the Twitch channel is like the tip of the iceberg that I get to share with people, that people can hang out and see.
Yeah.
And then there is also, it's also just a passion project to like use a lot of the web development skills that I learned in my last job.
Like, to an extent.
To create goldenvcr.com. So you can go to goldenvcr.com on your computer or mobile device right now. You can you can look at you can go to the menu and go to the tapes page and look at like all of the tapes that we have in the collection. So, and you can also log in with your Twitch account to access Golden VCR fun points that you have obtained through participating in the streams or sending in tapes, and you can mark tapes as favorites. So the idea is people can go in, they can look at the collection and see like, oh, this looks interesting to me, mark it as a favorite, and then show up for a stream, and maybe we'll watch that. You know.
And the way that I've understood it, when you've explained it before, is that what you're doing with like the back end stuff is like, all of this is like a fun endeavor, and it's something you genuinely enjoy. But also, this is something that when you finally are like, oh wait, I should go back to work, you'll be able to like show, you know, a potential employer and be like, I know how to do back end stuff.
Yeah, it's
like a vague resume point in a way.
Yeah, it's a portfolio project.
Yeah.
I don't talk about this nearly as much as I like. There's a lot of work invested into the technical side of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like super happy to geek out about that stuff, but it's not. I don't feel like software engineering is that's a very niche segment of the audience. For those people, if they're interested, I do point out that all of the code for this is open source. So if you go to github.com/golden-vcr, all of the repositories are there. You can look at how the database and the backend and the APIs and
See, all
the front end apps are structured.
all of this stuff is very like magic to me because like obviously we have some very fun like advanced stuff that happens on our streams courtesy of Chaz, and like that's all magic. It's complete magic because I don't have anything to do with it. I just describe to Chaz an idea, and I'm like, how could we make this thing happen? And Chaz is like, yes.
Yeah.
And then he does it. So it's very behind the curtains, but I'm sure Chaz also could be like, all right, I'm going to tell you about all this whatever stuff.
Also, oh, did I say it was open source? I should also clarify. It is not released under an open source license of any kind. This is a legal technicality. The source code is publicly viewable on GitHub, which implies certain things, but there is no implied or explicit open source license. Which is basically, it's still my code. If you were to like take it and use it, that's probably fine, but I have not told you that it is in a legal sense.
Good. I love... That's probably fine. At any point I could change my mind, and then you're screwed, so you can go look at it.
I mean, it's just like, it basically in the like tiny 1% chance that I ever like spun this into some profitable venture.
Yes.
Then because of that, I am not just like releasing it open source, but I want people to be able to see it and learn from it. I don't want to like squirrel it away. Part of the fun of coding for me is like the fun of the code and being able to look at it and share it with people who are interested.
Sorry, Haley said, it's not illegal if you don't get caught. The golden VCR motto. I have tuned in to some streams before and watched the FBI warning on screen. And that's just a fun part of the stream.
That is, yeah. Another thing to reiterate is that Golden VCR is entirely a personal project of me, Alex Forsyth, and is in no way endorsed by George Corp.
It's true. I can imagine Chaz behind the couch popping up and be like, we are not associated with this channel.
Yeah. Did you, are you familiar with C.W. McCall?
Yes!
We watched a tape that he narrated.
Really?
It was really good. It was about...
Well, actually, that's not that surprising.
It was about the Silverton Railroad in Colorado. And it was like his Western drawl gave it the perfect narration.
Do you know the history of C.W. McCall?
I know it's a persona of a dude.
It's a persona of a dude who is like a marketing person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he like studied in Louisiana or something.
He wrote Convoy. That's all I knew.
He wrote, yes. C.W. McCall was, like you said, a persona that basically got into ads and started doing advertising with this persona and like making these fun country songs. So it was a whole thing for a while. So it's not that surprising to hear that there was like a narrated thing.
It was surprisingly good. It was like, this coal-hungry daughter of the DNRG was laid down on narrow-gauge tracks up from Durango to the heart of the Altus Canyon. Folks milling about the station wait for their chance to get a taste of the glory of the West.
You know that I named my character in Starfield, like, based on C.W. McCall. Did you know that?
People were saying something about that.
Something about that. I don't know what it was exactly. It's something. We had 50 months from Triforce Drummer, 64 months from TachiGamer96, 13 months from Duke Doo, 300 bits from J-Spoke. So shout out to Alex for all the hard work on Golden VCR, loving the streams. Also, hashtag Dan is there for you. Is Dan there for you too?
Whenever you need Dan, Dan is there for you.
That's how I feel personally about Motion Dan. So it's nice that that's...
Dan is your Dan.
Well, Dan belongs to everyone.
Exactly.
We got 3 Bits from Shy, who says, on the topic of reminiscing over old tapes, I've discovered that there's YouTube channels that post old Toonami broadcasts from around 2000, commercials and all. It's been a real blast to the past seeing the shows I grew up on, as I had seen them when I was like 5. So when
you ever watch the Ocean dub of DBZ?
Like 1 episode. Like Golden VCR, getting it started on YouTube, I remember one of the appeals that I could see that people enjoying was that you had a lot of like local broadcasts from Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So there were comments that were in your videos of people that were like, "Oh man, I watched this whenever I was younger," and like it's like not on YouTube in any other place, right? So
yeah,
that sort of thing's very cool.
My mom had taped a recording, a broadcast of Midnight Mass at the Vatican for like Christmas 1994 or something.
Yeah.
And I put that on YouTube, and there was a comment. It was like, that little Australian girl doing the gospel reading was me. I'm 38 now, and it's so wonderful to look back on this. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad I could do this. But yeah, the Golden VCR YouTube channel is kind of a mess now because it's like 600 old commercials and then VODs of these streams. So half of my comments are like, oh, this is a really cool VOD. I liked this tape. And half of them are, why you not upload this episode of Judge Joe Brown? My most popular videos are just daytime court shows. And everyone's like, do you have this episode that I was on? I'm like, no, that's not how VHS recordings worked. I don't just have every episode of every show that I can put on YouTube.
You just have a repository of Judge Joe Brown. You can go to the shelf and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to upload episode 76.
Yeah. But I am also uploading shorts now for fun every once in a while. So if you're a scroller, if you're one of those vertical scrollers, like so many of us have become, YouTube or TikTok, Golden VCR, you'll find them there.
How many tapes do you have in your home now?
Oh.
Good answer.
At least there's currently on goldenvcr.com, like officially in the collection, like 230 tapes. In my home, including other stuff, it's probably like 350 to 400 VHS tapes. I don't know why anyone would just have so much media in their house.
Me either. That's stupid. Don't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I like my favorite part of like old media, I think specifically, is commercials. So that's the part that I'm always drawn to.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of this weird, these obscure things that you can find that like you can't get any other information about. And I think that's also very cool too, because it's basically lost media.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating to me. But outside of that, I'm like, I just want to watch like commercials for, I don't know, Beyblades or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of like different stream concepts. You know, there's potential here. What I've mostly been doing is just variety streams where we pick some random tapes.
Yeah.
There's also like people have sent in a lot of fitness tapes, like Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies and Jane Fonda workout tapes and things. So I can do streams where I'm working out to these workout tapes, and everyone else can work out too if they want to. There's, like you're saying, mystery tapes, basically, just like home recordings. So it could be a random old TV show, but you get all the commercial breaks in there.
Yeah.
So, I can do a stream where it's just like, let's sit down with this 1 6-hour tape and just see what's on it. And then people have sent in some really neat things. We have an Agatha Christie murder mystery VCR game.
Like a
there were all these like tabletop games that you played with a VCR as part of the game. So that's an option too. And somebody sent in the Crayola Learn to Draw Art Studio VHS thing, where you have like a little laptop desk and it comes with markers and crayons. And
I went into your home a bit ago and I saw that sitting there, and I pointed it out. And Alex was like, "Yeah, someone," and I was like, "No, you don't understand." I was like, I had this when I was a child, and I've watched the tape a lot. And I was like, I'm pretty sure if I was watching it when it was running, I'd be able to like say the words because I've seen it a lot. So whenever you do that one, let me know. I might come over and watch it with you.
Have you ever done a stream where you just improv the entirety of Ace Ventura 2 from memory? Live?
I probably could. You can
just print out like a storyboard
there
with no dialogue on it, and you could...
There was, since Mal and I have been together, we did watch Ace Ventura 2 once together, and I told her, I was like, now listen, if you want, I will not do this. I was like, but if you're willing, I was like, I'm going to speak every line of this movie. And she was like, do it. And I did. Like, I just know that movie so intimately because I've seen it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you cannot legally do this. 300 Bits from the Reload says, VHS recordings of primetime shows and archiving them is incredibly important, from episodes of a show that only lasted one season to something as simple as bumpers for a dead channel like UPN or the WB. Making sure any obscure content is saved so it's available is important in a destructive landscape.
I agree. It's a labor-intensive and thankless thing to do, and sometimes you go, wait, why am I doing this? This is such a waste of time. But I have so many bumpers for the WB and UPN.
In WB bumpers, I am rich.
Like, you can go to Golden VCR on YouTube and you can look up a video of Steve Harvey dancing with like the cartoon frog and all the other personalities that appeared. It does have the WB frog, yes. Yep. Fun stuff.
Wait, what? Steve Harvey with the WB frog? Because
he was on UPN or WB,
okay.
The WB.
There's just a...
There was a song. It's like, the WB, beat, WB, dancing around. We love the shows.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has been, like, lost time. And I'm glad that you are having some small part in, like, recovering some of that,
it's
maybe.
not really the most culturally significant stuff, but... I think the real crux of it is just that nostalgia is fun. People like nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something special about just unlocking a memory that would have been lost to time otherwise, that you never would have thought about ever again.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I like that aspect of it. We got 300 Bits from Jay Linebeck says, so I recently discovered a YouTuber called Cathode Ray Dude, I guess, who reviews and looks at a lot of old tech, such as the Sony Vaio PCG GT1, a Japan-only laptop/camcorder combo device. Sony sure were experimental during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. There's some very bizarre tech that exists, and, like, Japan got it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's some things that, like, worked in Japan. Like, weird stuff that the US would be like, I don't understand this. Why would we need this?
Like fax machines.
Yes. Fax machines, which famously only caught on in Japan. Not here, not at all. That's actually one of the most frustrating things is whenever you're trying to get in touch with a company, mm-hmm. and they're like, well, you could fax it here. And I'm like, no, I can't.
When do you run
into this? No, I can't. No, that's a real thing.
Like doctors' offices and...
insurance companies.
And... insurance, really?
Insurance companies. I mean, it's not that you don't have other options. But whenever they tell you, they're like, you can fax it here. I'm like, but why? Where would I do that? You can do virtual faxes. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, lawyers' offices are big into faxing. It is, like, secure and a simple, straightforward technology that works.
I mean,
fax is a technology from the 1880s or something. Like, it's really neat.
I mean, when you're talking about VHSs, you're really talking about old, outdated technology. So, I mean, like, very much so. So, if you were to...
The next time a doctor's office needs my medical records, I'm going to encode them onto VHS and mail them at the tape.
I bet they'd love that.
I did find...
I bet they'd love that.
Speaking of medical VHS, I do have my ultrasound tape.
Oh, wow.
So it's like the earliest...
That's the earliest footage of Alex.
Of Alex, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, the earliest footage I have of me is at I have footage of me at 2.
I don't know if I can put it on. I could put it on Twitch though, because there's a moment where they like circle the little PEMIS zone and bring up the text that says "It's a boy." I don't know how TOS works with that.
Sorry, I just want to take a moment to appreciate the phrase "the PEMIS zone." Fozzik short the Penne zone. No, that's Olive Garden. You're close. You're very close. My question to you is: you clearly have an interest in old technology.
Yeah.
If you were to expand beyond golden VCR, or just and look at other like old tech, what's some other old tech that fascinates you besides media specifically?
I don't know. To be honest with you, it's the media itself. It's like the content on the tape that fascinates me more than the technology itself.
Okay.
What about you?
For old tech?
If you were getting into something besides video games.
I mean, this is a cop-out answer because everyone will be like, "Oh, of course," but like, there is an aesthetic to old camcorders that is very difficult to emulate, like in post. Like it's not the same. It's just, and I don't want to dive down that hole because I had a conversation with Dan the other day. About film and about like shooting on film and what shooting on film looks like, and he's like I don't know why anyone would shoot on film because you can just make it look like that in post. And like I was like, well it's not exactly the same. There is an aesthetic to it that is very, very hard to emulate, and the same thing with those old cameras. Like there is no dynamic range in old cameras, but if you're shooting with an old camcorder, you immediately are like, "Oh, that's an old camcorder."
Yeah, I picked one up at a thrift store in Birmingham once, and like the getting batteries for them is hard, and like there was some like tracking issue where it needed a new belt, and I couldn't find the right belt for it or something.
Yeah,
it was. You see something at the thrift store and you're like, oh my God, for $6 I can recreate the VHS look and make my own vlog, but in VHS quality. There's something fun about the idea of like shooting modern footage and having it look like
the way
it sounds like.
Yes.
There's like a very distinct sound of like your dad narrating footage candidly from behind a camcorder, and the way that's like picked up by the microphone and encoded on the tape.
Yes.
That you just hear, and it triggers something in your brain. Like, but I couldn't get it working, so I threw it away.
There is, I think the interesting thing is that there's certain looks and sounds to media that are indicative of the era.
Yeah.
And that if you shoot that in modern day, you're just teleported there. So if you see footage that was shot today, but with an old Sony Handycam or whatever, like you immediately just assume that it's decades old. Like you have to have something in the video that shows that it's not, because there's no way that you would believe that it's modern. Everything looks so different. Nowadays everything is shot, typically you consume a lot of media that's just from phones, and like that extremely like over sharpened digital look is vastly different from like the low dynamic range like clipped highlights look of an old camcorder. It's very, very different.
What's been interesting to me too, like going through old home movies, is not just how things are technically different, but how the way that we use cameras is different.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that inspired me to like pick up this camcorder at the thrift store, even though it didn't turn into anything, was like I had been going through all these home movies and thinking about it, and like, my parents, like my dad had this camcorder and like took it to Christmas and was like shooting a little movie of everyone at Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's just, I feel like now we just have cameras in our pockets, and it's so ubiquitous but we don't use it the same way.
Well, the other thing is that people
We
respond...
film like little clips, and it's like maybe I'll put this on Facebook, or maybe it'll go to my iCloud account and get deleted when I die. Like it's less of a thing that like draws, captures people.
Well, the other thing is that people responded to it differently, and like Vagabond says, it was an event. If a camera came out, like in lots of old media, like people wave to the camera.
There's a really...
Which is an insane thing now, but that's just what happened because it was like, oh, a camera?
Yeah, I was talking to my dad about this recently, and it dawned on me like how new and strange it was to have a movie camera, because he bought a camcorder in 1984.
Yeah.
And one of our earliest home recordings is Christmas 1984 with my mom's family. I wasn't born yet. And, half the people are like, oh, Herb, get that thing out of my face. And, the kids are all like dancing around and like, come here, come put the camera on me. We're gonna dance.
It was very much like a new technology and associated with like movies.
I remember watching this this home movie of Christmas when I was a kid, and there was always this moment that we all laughed at and found really funny that became like a family meme, which was my cousin was like dancing in front of the camera. And somebody, was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in a motion picture for Uncle Herb. And we just thought that was very funny. So yeah, people responded to it differently.
It is. It's very different. I mean, now...
It was like a big special event, when you were being recorded by someone with a camera. Whereas now I just feel like dirty pulling out a camera and... I guess you don't have this problem.
Wow.
But if like, like when we're up at Christmas with Haley's family at Christmas, and I'm like, oh, this is a really lovely scene, and the grandparents are interacting with the grandkids, and everybody's having a good time. Yeah. There's a part of me that harkens back to this like VHS home movie
that you just want to capture.
It's
that
like,
scene.
It would be so nice to just have like a nice pan of this, and to just have like 5 minutes of footage that these grandkids could look back on later in life, and to just capture this moment. But as I pull out my phone, I'm like, I just feel like a weirdo. Like, because people are so used to being recorded, but it's like it feels invasive because we're always being recorded.
Yeah, it's gone too far the other direction, right? We went from having a time where having a camera out was like a novelty, and it's like, oh my goodness, look, there's a camera, and then we slowly got into the everything is being recorded and my privacy no longer exists. And we've swung so far that way.
Yeah.
That's why it feels weird.
I also think
if you pull out a camera, it's like, oh wait, am I part of that problem?
I also think honestly, like the form factor is a big part of it. More than you might
because
think.
it feels too discreet.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it feels like
doing this.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand that.
Whereas if you have a camcorder on your shoulder, like you're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
You're being very overt about what you're doing, and like, that was another reason why I wanted to buy a camcorder. I was like, if this doesn't work, I'll just mount a cell phone into the front of the camcorder. So that I can like carry this around, like go to Thanksgiving and pretend like just straight face pretend like it's 1989 and I'm recording home movies.
Just said, average person records 3 films a year. Factoid, actually just statistical error. Average person records 0 films per year. Stephen George, who films over 1,000 each year, is an outlier and should not have been counted.
That's very good.
Thank you, Spiders Jazz. Yeah, this is fun. I like talking about all of this stuff, and I do miss old tech sometimes. I do miss the feeling of having a camera. It's I have 2 wolves inside of me. One of them is extremely grateful for the immense convenience of this device, because this is an amazing thing. Like the fact that we can shoot high quality video, we can shoot high quality logarithmic video now on a phone is amazing. I love that. But it's not the same as having a camera, and that is also a part of it, is that if you have a camera out, people are going to react a little differently. And sometimes I want to be discreet, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want people to know. Even, I think it actually comes up most often when we have people over, because there's a lot of times I want to vlog, but I do want everyone in the room to be aware of what I'm doing, right? Because it goes both ways. Like, I don't want to put anything out that like is a private conversation, and I know they also don't want that to happen, so it's like a two-way thing.
Yeah, there's definitely an extra layer for you.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, if you pull out a camera, like there's no home movies with Stephen George, right? Like you are filming a vlog for public consumption.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're all very authentic and we come across as ourselves on the vlog.
Yeah.
But inevitably, you kind of like have a persona that is your persona for public consumption. It's not just a vlog thing. It's like, you subtly change depending on how you're going to be perceived and where the footage is going to go. So
Yeah.
if you were just like, you're cursed in a way, because if you were like, oh, this is a lovely authentic moment of everyone, talking about their deepest feelings and reciting their social security numbers, and you pan across us, we're all going to assume it's for the vlog.
Yeah.
Like subconsciously,
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, the personality stuff aligns so closely that it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And for me myself, I feel like my personality, my demeanor changes depending on who I'm with, because my default thing is entertainer, and I just try to foil the person I'm with. So sometimes I'm a little more lively, and sometimes I'm extremely dry, because if the person I'm with is the lively person, then I'm like, oh, I just naturally become the dry person. Anyway.
Yay.
Hi, buddy. Welcome.
Oh, it's Drug Cat.
Who's on drugs?
You gotta take him to the vet soon? Do you want to go now? I can just finish this up for you.
I am going to be taken to... It's in a few hours, but he's going to be going to the vet. He had some gabapentin last night, and after stream, he's going to be getting a little bit more. He's going to be feeling... Not much. He's just going to kind of lay there and drool a little bit. We had 52 months from LZD. LZD, thank you. So we're going to wrap up here. When can folks watch Golden VCR?
I've been streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah, so the next stream should be Saturday at 10. Although I'm playing with the schedule slightly, but I'm generally sticking to those rough days.
Okay.
I might move.
And you don't know what you're going to do next, right? Like, a lot of times it's audience...
He's sitting down so slowly.
Voting.
Yeah. Most of the time I go into it unprepared. A lot of it is that, like, people... I got a P.O. box, and people have now been sending in tapes, which is very, very kind of them.
Yeah.
And has been expanding the collection quickly, and I had to buy a new shelf. But there's no hard and fast rules, but I try to, like, if someone sent in a tape, I lean toward, like, playing the tapes that people are there to see if they've sent it in.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bella Bunny in particular. Has sent in quite a lot of tapes. I'm still getting through those. So I don't, we'll figure it out. You never know what you're going to get. That's the fun of it.
So for me, so we did Starfield yesterday, so there's no other streams today. However, tomorrow, since Mao is not here to join me for Tears of the Kingdom, we are going to do the continuation of Super Mario RPG. Haley is going to join me again tomorrow night, and we're going to pick up from where we left off, which was we just finished the first star. So it's time to go into the sewers, fight Balom.
Spoilers.
Fight something. Go down something. Grab some green something. The game is like 30 years old. But yeah, looking forward to that. It's one of those things that I want to play through this game, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to have time to do it, so it's just going to be kind of a piecemeal approach. When we have the opportunity, we'll do it, and eventually maybe get through it. We're not doing Xenogears. 300 Bits from Shia says, sometimes Stephen is lively, sometimes he's easygoing, and sometimes he scares everyone around him with unbridled bloodlust. Not often. You remember Gorn?
Yeah, apparently I'm not the only one.
It's fun. It's so fun. Sorry, there's 300 Bits from Jay Linebeck. He says, you boot up your copy of Super Mario RPG on Switch, only for it to somehow be Xenogears. I don't think it's probably not going to happen. I don't think that they've ported Xenogears to the Switch. It's probably going to be Super Mario.
Bye, Haley. I got a fritter for you, too, if you want one.
Have a good time at work, Haley. Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I think I set it to be scheduled. So the vlog should be out. Yeah! There is a vlog out. So we're going to do a vlog raid. And you can go watch. There's a good chance I will never come back to that video game, which is December 11th's episode. So go watch that. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah.
And check out Golden VCR on Twitch this Saturday at 10 a.m. 26 months from Mean Dean. Mean Dean, thank you. No post screen. Go watch the vlog instead. See you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the continuation of Mario RPG with Haley.